Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Definitely got a few more hockey updates to talk about in this video. Could we say maybe it could be tied together? I know the more premise on this video is I'll talk about the American Hockey League, which is the primarily developmental league that where it's the farm team that serves all National Hockey League teams. Well, the American Hockey League recently announced that they're looking to start their 2020-21 season in February. I believe the exact date is February 5th. That the American Hockey League is looking to start operations, start their season. Or that's definitely 2 months later, because they were looking at starting in December. However, given how this global pandemic with COVID-19 has been evolving, the American Hockey League is obviously a lot more dependent on fans being in attendance than the other major leagues, let's say the National Hockey League, where they can afford to operate with no fans and potentially in a bubble environment for a while. But it definitely will be a little out of sync. And I also did talk about that with junior hockey, with the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League already having games started as they started on time, but they've had some speed bumps along the way where they had to shut things down for a few weeks. While the Western Hockey League is looking to start in January. And then the Ontario Hockey League is also not looking to start until February. And the Ontario Hockey League also mentions that body contact will not be allowed in hockey. But the National Hockey League has still always maintained that they want to start the beginning of January. So when you have a month from, the National Hockey League starting and the American Hockey League starting, what's going to happen to players that, let's say, you want to send down into the American Hockey League that isn't on the main roster, either, just to give them more playing time or in some cases to get around salary cap. I know some teams will be doing that as well, especially with contracts that they can't buy out, so that they get more cap savings. See, Louis Eriksson in Vancouver, for example. That's why they can't buy him out, but he'll be going to Utica. But you always have to wonder how that's going to work, and I think that would be another detail that the National Hockey League is going to have to work out. Is do those players stay with the team, or do they somehow go down to the American Hockey League, or with the American Hockey League saying that they do not want to start until February, could there still be a potential that the National Hockey League could follow suit? I still don't think that whenever the 2020-21 season is going to start, they're not going to play 82 games. I think the National Hockey League really, really wants to, and I think they've also mentioned it, and Bill Daly himself has mentioned that he wants the 2021-22 season, especially the season when the Seattle Kraken joins the league. They want that season to start on time. And as a fan, I would like that season to start on time. I know going back several months, there was speculation that it was going to take 3 or 4 seasons to have everything kind of go back to normal. But I think this season, given the way it is, we're going to have to kind of treat it like a Locko-ish season. Locko-ish, if Locko-ish is a word, where it's going to have to be a shortened season. It will not be under a traditional where you get to play everybody. I mean, it still sounds like it's gaining more traction. That there is going to be regionalized divisions instead of the traditional divisions that are aligned right now. That it still sounds like, especially with Canadian teams and the border closure between the Canada-US and restriction on travel, and as well as the Quarantine Act, that there could be an all-Canadian division. It'll definitely be a lot more exciting. To get a lot more back-to-back games, it's going to have to be a more still squeezed schedule. Because even, let's say, if they started the season January 1st or January 15th or January 20th around there, I think January 20th is the latest that a season started when there was a lockout and they played 48 games and the season ended by late June. And I think that's what the NHL wants, is they want the season to end, let's say, whenever it starts, that they want the regular season to end, let's say, the end of April at latest, so they can have 2 months to get the Stanley Cup awarded, and then have, the draft of free frenzy back to when we're supposed to have it in July instead of October. I mean, that's all been weird. And then have next season start on time. And I think that's another critical thing to be relevant. And I would think the American Hockey League is probably want to be on that same vein as well. But they've come out now said that they want to start in February instead of the National Hockey League. Always, they're still targeting, and targeting is always the key word, on January 1st. But could this announcement by the American Hockey League affect the National Hockey League, where maybe the season will not start until February to line up, especially, if you want to send players up and down on the farm and get playing time in. I know usually the American Hockey actually just starts just before the National Hockey for that reason as well. But everything is still speculative at this point. And I think, when it comes to the National Hockey League, I'm probably going to say at most we'll probably have 60 games next season. That's just my personal speculation. If you could squeeze the schedule a little better, play, there's definitely going to be a lot more 3 games in 4 nights or 4 games in 5 nights. I would think, if they regionalized the divisions, you could play more back-to-backs. For example, let's say the Calgary Flames, they can have a weekend series with the Vancouver Canucks or the Edmonton Oilers or Winnipeg Jets, and then maybe if they go out east for a week, they can play Toronto a couple games, and throw in Ottawa and Montreal a few times. That's how I think the only way you can maybe potentially get more than 48 games, because 48's been that number that they've used the 2 seasons that were shortened by a lockout but still had a season in, and then the third one was it wiped out this season entirely. And I think the American Hockey League probably along the lines of that as well, especially with some teams. Although I think with the case of the American Hockey League, there's a few teams that are still in Canada, but not as many, that maybe they could potentially temporarily play in the U.S. That's hard to say. Or could there still be a possibility that, let's say the Stockton Heat, the Calgary Flames farm team, let's say if the Calgary Flames there's going to be this Canadian division. I've heard this other possibility that I threw out a video a while back that I thought maybe the Calgary Flames would play in Stockton if there's no fans in attendance, and that still remains to be seen if there's going to be bubbles or fans in attendance. Could the Stockton Heat, could they set up shop in Calgary, for example? Could they also play in Calgary, just have the availability of having the players right away, just for this case? That's just something I'm throwing out there right now. And I've heard that idea of maybe, the American Hockey League team. I mean, Toronto, for example, they have the Marlies, which is in the same city. But, there'd be less travel that way as well, especially if you want to call someone up. And the other thing, it's just still going to be interesting if, unless, depending where COVID is, let's say if you want to make a trade, how's that going to still work, if you want to make a trade with an American-based team? Or it's still up in the air at this point, but what do you think of everything? Could the American Hockey League saying that they won't start till February 5th? Could that potentially, change the NHL's plans to still start January 1st? Or how is it going to work when it comes to, let's say, sending players down or calling them up when the seasons all start at different times? So as I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Edmonton, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, but I also do have personal vlogs, attempt at comedy, and I do share my experiences when I'm on the road or at a sport event. So if that all sounds like you'd be interested to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, you know what you need to do. Just make sure you like, subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me. So as I say here, go Flames go, and let's say go Heat go as well for the Stockton Heat. Hopefully whenever there'll be a season, I'll definitely be back recapping games when it comes to the Calgary Flames, and I may even touch upon how some Heat players are doing as well in Stockton, assuming they're either playing Stockton or Calgary or wherever else. So as I say, I'll see you in the next video.